Uh, this is Hartosh Singh Bal. Mm, I'm sorry, I'm a couple of minutes late, and the idea is to be talking about the media in the current circumstances during the COVID crisis. I will be focusing on the role of the Indian media, what we see around us, and what is transpiring as we sort of tackle the crisis and interact with the media. And I want to compare and contrast what is happening in India with much that is happening in the rest of the world. One of the things that strikes me, or I think strikes most of us who are viewing coverage from, say, especially the UK and the US countries that we often focus on, where we are aware of what the media is, that every evening you have the sight of the Prime Minister Boris Johnson, while he's been well enough to actually address press conferences, or the President Donald Trump holding forth, answering questions, being grilled, saying ridiculous things, being asked for accountability. Those clips have now gone viral across the world, where we are getting a sense of how well a government is reacting, not reacting, the degree of seriousness or foolishness involved in those decisions, in the way decisions are made in those countries. That is an essential or healthy part of a democracy. In a large democracy, the only process of interaction or questioning the government or criticizing the government is really through the media at such times of crisis. Instead, what do we see in India? And I find this actually very, very interesting. Narendra Modi on the 24th is about to go live to declare a lockdown. Among the things he chooses to do, and I refer you to a caravan story, I will be referring to some stories because these are important stories that I think everybody should look at. Sagar Chaudhary, excellent reporter, has done a report on what exactly the Prime Minister chose to do in the hours before the lockdown. You must remember how the lockdown unfolded. You must remember the sheer unpreparedness of the government for what followed immediately after the lockdown. You must remember that migrants in thousands and tens of thousands were stranded, people were going without food, thousands were walking back home. In the hours leading up to the lockdown, you would expect this is where the government and the prime minister would be focused. What are the arrangements to be made? What will happen? How will we deal with the crisis that's looming ahead? Instead, what did the prime minister choose to do? He individually and collectively addressed print media owners. It's very interesting. Compare the two scenarios. You have a prime minister of the UK, you have a president of the US being forced to answer tough questions. Here in India, you have media owners. Remember, he doesn't ask editors, he does not ask journalists, he does not answer questions. He gets owners in front of them, he converses with them and gives them suggestions. He reverses the entire role of the media. It is not any longer in this country an interaction where the government is held to account, but where the government is dictating what the media should be doing. What are the consequences of this? Look at the owners he chooses to address. He's not talking to the large number of television mass media owners simply because he doesn't need to. These are channels today, mass media channels, who feed off government propaganda from its measure of hatred and disinformation. He chooses to talk to some of the print centrist media. And look at the response that he gets from the media. At the end of the interaction, you get Malini Parthasarathy of the Hindu saying, we are privileged to be part of PM Narendra Modi's interaction with print. When our reporter talks to Vivek Goenka, owner editor of the managing director, chairperson of the Indian Express Group, one of our most dogged pieces, a place where I learned my journalism. But when I read this comment, I'm aghast at where we've arrived. Never before has a prime minister connected and communicated like him with the people of this country. So obviously he's leading from the front. Well, actually, where else can a prime minister lead from if not the front? The question is he leading well? Is he leading badly? What are the kind of questions you're going to pose to him? What is the scrutiny you're going to place the prime minister under? And these are not issues that the owners seem bothered by. It's also a clear indication of where our media stands. The editors are being bypassed, the owners are taking decision, and then The PM's website actually at the end of it puts up a note on this interaction. And in that note, this is what the PMO's website says. The journalists and stakeholders from print media appreciate the role played by the Prime Minister in communicating effectively and leading the country from the front. So instead of questions, you have an endorsement. They said they will work on the suggestions of the Prime Minister. So they are not going to ask questions of the Prime Minister. They are not going to hold the government to scrutiny. They will work on the suggestions of the Prime Minister to do what? To publish inspiring and positive stories. This, in effect, is the Doordarshanization of the entire mainstream of our print media. We are talking of organizations like the Indian Express of the Hindu. We are not even talking about Republic Television or Z Media or whatever it is. This is the atmosphere in which we are seeing this crisis being reported, tackled. And why is that a problem? It is systematically and purely a problem because we are not getting the true picture of what is happening in this country. Let me cite a few more stories that are important here. Take the fact that till well into the crisis, we are talking of the lockdown happens on the 24th. India waits till 19th March to actually prevent the export of material that goes into production of PPEs and masks. As a result, we don't have a stockpile available as patients start coming into hospital. We had months before in which we could have been ready for this. With ventilators, the question is even worse, as Vidya Krishnan has reported for the caravan, that this goes on, the export of ventilators goes on till 24th of March. And now as patients are coming in, the government is finally turning its attention to what is to happen in India instead of worrying about exports. You can see the same farce being repeated with the question of hydrochloroquine. Whether it actually effectively treats COVID or not, let's set that aside for the moment. The question is, how is the government reacting to this decision? The government bans the export. Trump threatens Modi. A few days later, immediately, the export ban is lifted. Is this decision made after deciding that this medicine is not needed in the country? Is it taken after deciding this medicine is not necessary for our needs? Or is this decision taken purely as a reaction to what Trump has said? And these are the questions that the media must ask. These are the questions the government must answer. What does this government instead choose to do? What has happened with its daily briefings? Briefings that are held by the health ministry, as these briefings are becoming increasingly restrictive. What is happening at these briefings? The number of questions that are being allowed by few restricted organizations which are largely the government's mouthpieces. Other journalists are not being allowed to pose questions. This briefing, and I think in the report by Vidya Krishnan, there is a pretty telling statement that is made by, I think this is Vidya Krishnan is quoting from the 1st April briefing. Yeah. In this light, I would like to reiterate our directions that during the lockdown, everyone must avoid all religious gatherings. Well, among the people who did not avoid religious gatherings was Adityanath, the Chief Minister of UP. When this was reported, no action was taken, no statement was issued, nothing was there to indicate that there was an error by the Chief Minister. Instead, as a fallout, action has been taken against the wire when one quote in an entire story reporting on this fact was misattributed, that was corrected. But the fact is, the larger import of the story was about the Chief Minister not following the directions on a lockdown. Yet that was not paid heed to. What was paid heed to was the possibility that somewhere here there is a minor mistake that's been corrected that can be used to attack the media that is critical, that is examining the government. Right now, this is absolutely the worst thing that can be done, because what we need right now is media that is critical, that is questioning. You can see as a result of each of these stories have been done by Scroll, Huffington Post has done some stories. The government is actually taking decisions that is strengthening our response to the COVID crisis. The government is actually moved on PPEs, on testing kits, on ventilators, simply because there have been reports that have been critical of the government's action, which is why we've seen what has transpired has been directed in a way that seems like a response to the crisis. Instead, if we had been left only with the cheerleaders of the government, as the PM seems to have wanted when he addressed media owners, again, he addressed owners, not editors, we would not have seen a change in the government's response. Because over and over again, we seem to have the feeling, because in no examination the government is not unwilling to subject itself to, is the sense of a coherent, thought out strategy coming through. You can look at what happens during the lockdown. The first lockdown, the government, as I said, the Prime Minister was busy in the hours leading up to the lockdown talking to media owners. The government seems not have prepared for the migrant crisis, for people going home, for people being left without wages, without sustenance, without food. No plan seems to have been implemented. This is typical of Modi. This happened during demonetization, grand gestures, theater, no follow up. But you would have expected 14 days later, when a decision is again announced to extend the lockdown. And please, this is where the media should be scrutinizing the Prime Minister instead of cheerleading him. One, did he have to wait till the 14th day? Let us not waste our time on the thali bajawing, the diya lighting. The question is, how are decisions being taken? Did he have to wait till the end of the lockdown to announce that it will be extended? It was pretty clear that cases are rising, as they will continue to rise till May 3rd. It was clear that the lockdown, if we have to use it as a preventive strategy, will have to be in place. The announcement could well have come earlier, avoided the kind of crisis we saw in Bombay. Why did we see that crisis? Railways were taking bookings. 29 lakh tickets have been cancelled on the last day because the railways were taking bookings from 14th onwards. Why must messaging not be clear? Why is the Prime Minister and his government not taking decisions in a coordinated fashion? Are we going to see a repeat of this when the lockdown, we arrive at May 3rd? Will the lockdown have to be extended? Why are these questions not being answered? Because the growth curve or doubling from every 5 to 6 days to 7 days has continued from the 100 case onwards till now. We are today at well over 10,000 cases. With this growth curve, we would be approaching 40, 45, 50,000 cases by May 3rd. Would it make sense to lift the lockdown then? If the lockdown is then to go into months, what is the government doing? What are the preparations being made? Again, they need to give answers. That is where a government functions effectively. In a democracy, what is being done to people who are not being able to sustain themselves, who are not being provided for, stories that are coming out from UP or Bihar despite the government not encouraging these stories and media owners looking for positive stories. There is today an overwhelming force which will bring these stories to the fore. But what is the government doing as a response? Why is this government not communicating? This is where the media has to be asking questions. This is where the media must be forcing the government to respond. This is our role during a crisis. Criticizing the government, examining it, looking at the decisions it is making is what we are here for. Not to cheerlead, not to offer positive stories, not to cover up. In this, the interesting fact is, why has the Prime Minister not even bothered in large measure to address owners, editors of mass media channels? And the answer is pretty clear. These channels, and I would call this, as I said, the Doordarshanization of our entire media was still. It is a bigoted Doordarshanization. This mass media of ours, the channels, is feeding off exactly the climate that drives Modi to power in the first place. Hatred, bigotry, negative emotions, finding others, scapegoating people within this community. If we were to watch the coverage of this mainstream media, this includes actually every channel from India Today onwards. this belief that there are some who are better than the others. No, this co-option of the channels is across the board. What you are seeing is that they are feeding off this selective bigotry. If you were to believe the coverage of these channels, it would seem as if COVID is entirely a problem that is rooted in Indian Muslims, and its cause and its spread across the world, leave alone in India, is rooted here. Mm, You could see this in the coverage. The anti Muslim violence in Delhi is yet not ending as the attention shifts to COVID. And you can suddenly see the air go out of the 9 o'clock news. It is simply because in COVID, in the beginning, they cannot find the traction that is necessary to do the kind of work they do because they are not doing journalism. A crisis is when they should be turning their attention to the government. They can't turn their attention to the government. This is not what they are designed for. Half of them, like Republic, are funded by sources close to the BJP. The others depend intimately at a personal or at a public level on interactions with the government. So what do? There is no traction to that news till the Tabligh event happens. And then they are back into their usual cycle. You will see again the same rhetoric that drove the coverage during the anti-Delhi violence, again being given primacy, given attention. The result of what this does is the government is getting away scot-free. It is being allowed an easy pass on questions that are important. The government is doing its best to cut down all sources of transparency and coverage that could allow us to find out exactly what is happening. Even today, we still do not know the truth, despite few organizations and a few people consistently asking, why are we not testing more? What is the strategy? What are we going to wait for? In the beginning, you could have said that there was a lack of testing kits, but now that we are 20 days from the lockdown itself, 14 days from the lockdown, what has happened to our capacity? How many testing kits are we producing? How many ventilators have we added going forward, 10 days forward, 15 days forward, a month forward? What are we going to do? Are we expanding testing? And if cases continue to rise, what does the government have in mind? The answer that it is not the government's job to communicate with its citizen is an answer that does not belong in a democracy. Uh, this need to ask questions of this government, to get it to answer, to criticize it when possible, is not being met in the current situations. And we have been led to it over a long period of time by the very nature of our government. Uh, in this context, and I'm not going to speak much more than this because I think these are the essential points at this moment, that what we have to look for in the reportage today, largely, whether it is in terms of the reportage of the television channels, of the newspapers, is the news that is not being reported. Uh, we consistently hear that the country is doing well as compared to other countries. Actually, much of South Asia is doing better than the rest of the world. The jury is still out. We don't know why that is the case, that the growth rates here are lower than the rest of the world. Certainly, no media in India is going to make the claim that Imran Khan is handling the crisis better than Modi. But you see the same kind of growth happening in Pakistan, the slow growth. But what the media fails to understand, what they do not seem to realize, that there is a steadiness to the slow growth. This is not a growth that is declining. It is maintaining the steady state of 5, 6, 7 days of doubling. And as long as we are in that situation, we are looking at a massive health crisis lying ahead of us. In that health crisis, the worst thing we can do as journalists, as media, is to keep quiet about the government, to encourage the government, to cheer the government on. The questions that I've raised today during the course of this Facebook Live, the questions that have to be answered by the government, actually must extend to the last and final part of what is a natural corollary to an extended lockdown. What is the government doing? How is it planning, whether in coordination with state governments, whether with the central government, to feed its people, to provide ways in which they can sustain themselves in the absence of livelihoods? Uh, you can talk to people from industries, otherwise, there were notices being issued that certain industries could now open, certain distancing measures if they are followed. Uh, People from those industries still are not aware that if they actually open and if they produce something, what arrangements are being made to actually further take the material to other parts of the country. Where is the market for this? How is this going to work out? Many of them were expecting to open on the 15th. They had to wait till the last day to find out maybe they are not. There is confusion that surrounds every economic aspect of activity in the country. Uh, with this confusion comes the confusion of livelihoods. Support for people who are employed is just not possible under these circumstances. So far, the government does not seem to have worked out a plan as to what follows next in terms of the lockdown, in terms of reaching out to citizens. It is our job to effectively make sure that these questions remain on the table. This, I think, is the role of the media. The owners who spoke to the Prime Minister, the channels who are spreading bigotry every night, this is not media. This is exactly what should not be happening. These are the culprits and villains of our times. When we examine 5 months from now, 6 months from now, 60 years from now, what went wrong with the media during the COVID crisis in India. Thank you.